we can all think more than one thing at once. I'm delighted Liverpool have won the league. Yeah. I think language here is important. I think, I think so far, and it's got to continue, is what I would say. I think there has been at least a little bit of clarity in terms of what Trent's saying. There's personal challenge, fresh challenge, new challenge, tougher challenge. I don't think La Liga with Real Madrid and everything else that goes on there is necessarily, in a sporting sense, a tougher challenge than the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 7th, 8th, 9th, etc., with Liverpool. But there can be a personal challenge. There can be a personal, fresh challenge. There can be the idea that that is, and this is where the language does matter, a fresh challenge is different in this context to a tough challenge, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, language is an interesting way to put it, because obviously he's going to have to learn Spanish. So,
I bet he's been learning.
Yeah, no, to be fair, he'd have to be
but
learning.
He's okay by now.
So, yeah, I do think you're right in terms of how he says it makes a difference. And considering how long it's taken him to say anything, I would have expected him to be literally poring over every single word he says in public, because he knows it's going to be pulled apart. I absolutely agree with Abby on the point about the comfort zone. It does reflect badly on him, the fact that he felt like he's in his comfort zone right now, because it tells me that he's not really been able to be at his sharpest all the time. And this is something that Slot said. Like when he said he can be a great player when he puts his mind to it. Like he's literally saying he doesn't always put his mind to it. He doesn't always bring his best to every single game. And in his mind, he might be like, well, I've done this before. I've been to Leicester before. I've been to Burnley before. And it's like, yeah, but that's the job of a professional footballer. You go to those places every year and you have to be good every year, because the one year you go there and you're not good, you get beat. Like, we had trouble beating the teams who were miles behind everybody in the league. It was 20th, 19th, well, maybe not at 19th, we beat Ipswich both times quite easily. But Southampton gave us trouble. Leicester gave us trouble. Wolves gave us trouble. West Ham gave us trouble. They're all in the bottom five. Like, you've got to be on it every single week. And if you're not, I mean, that says more about you than anything else. You're right to say that that's probably not going to be the same in Spain. He's probably going to have a lot more games where he can take time off. But I always think about, right, Liverpool in the last 5 years have been very, very, very good and just been that far away. Been the unlucky underdogs, the plucky, we played really well, but we didn't win the chip. And what's happened in those 5 years? Well, 2 of the times, Real Madrid have taken the chip off of us. Real Madrid have found ways to win when they have no business winning. So they're winning when they don't deserve it, whereas we're losing when we do deserve it. And he's seeing that. And there must be a part of his mind where it's just like, God, I want to be on the easy team for a change. Like I understand that emotion. He's not going to come out and say that, though, but I believe that there's part of that in there.
That's a key thing. He's not going to come out and say that, though. And this is where I've processed Trent was leaving us for some time. I didn't believe there was any last-minute redemption possible. So in a sense, what he spoke about yesterday, came out with, I don't really care. I don't believe it to be sincere, quite frankly. I never expected it to be sincere. Because to my mind, for all the reasons that Abby and you and I think a lot of people have said, this isn't a comfort zone issue. I mean, and we can go through the semantics of did he mean it personally, did he mean it professionally, whatever. Did he mean it philosophically? Clearly, the appeal of Real Madrid, because they could have had a shocking season and finished 8th or whatever, or they could have, I don't know, or they could have won the last 10 La Ligas and there'd be total comfort. He's going because it's more glamorous. Because Real Madrid is more glamorous, you're likely to end up on the box of the next edition of FIFA if you play for Real Madrid. The giveaway interview he gave with Harriet, where he started talking about Ballon d'Ors, which, you know, we can argue that he's less likely to win at Madrid because their forwards all win it, but he was thinking of himself, his name up in lights. That's how he was thinking of it. And that's quite vain, vacuous even, but you know what, it's human. But
before I bring Mike in, isn't that also taking yourself out of your comfort zone? Like the idea that you've decided that you want, no, but I think this is, and also we're trying to get into the mind of someone who's made a decision here, if you see what I mean. Like in his mind, is it almost, and again, I disagree with this, but I just merely want to say, if I can make it there, I can make it anywhere. New York.
Yeah.
You know, is there genuinely an element here of you play Carnegie Hall twice, etc. All this sort of dynamic that you're describing.
Yeah.
He could well say, well, I could be part of a really strong team unit at Liverpool year in year out and achieve loads and loads of things. But what I want, the challenge that I want, is to go to the place where you've got to be a certain way. You've got, to go and put my name in lights. To your point, isn't that a valid sentence?
To a degree, yes. I mean, but that's if you're some, I'll use the expression, some hick of a farm boy who's got the chance to go and perform in Radio City Music Hall. Not Liverpool Football Club, who, we've seen the stats that after our title win, it's the most engagements, however it's measured, of any football club in the world ever. I would argue, if you're talking about measuring real support, properly watching every game support, we've probably got the most fans in the bloody world, right? We are champions of the hardest league to win. It's, as I said, if you're moving from Radio City Music Hall to Carnegie Hall and trying to find some distinction, then maybe, right? That would be the argument. But my main problem at the moment, in this moment, isn't really with what Trent comes out with or says, because he was never going to get away with justifying leaving his hometown club. He's made his brand out of being our Trent and the Scouser in our team, and then going, fancy something a bit more glamorous and warmer and whatever. He was never going to convince us that it was anything other than those kind of motivations. Where I'm irked, and I maybe shouldn't have gone off on one on social media, but I have, so I'm going to go off on one here, is the cover being provided for him. I can point a finger in a wide range of directions. I think a range of journalists have decided that they think they are entitled to say, hey, anyone's got a right to pursue their dreams. Anyone's got a right to go challenge themselves. Let's not even get into the banter merchants across other fan bases who just want to go, oh, you're crying because he's gone to Real Madrid. I'm not interested in their opinions, even the ones who are posing that they've got a reasonableist viewpoint, or the Rio Ferdinands and the Gary Nevilles and those guys, etc., because they haven't walked our walk. And I said it on tweet yesterday, the only one who has walked our walk, who's closest, who's actually in a professional capacity in football, is Trent Alexander-Arnold, ironically. I think he knows damn well how this cuts, how this hurts. Are we entitled to feel that hurt? Yeah, we are. We're entitled to feel that hurt, and nobody else is, let's put it this way, but nobody else is entitled to comment on it.